I think we can officially call Tesla's Cybertruck a flop. We learned over the last week or so that the 2 million reservations that Tesla had for the Cybertruck, that was $100 that you needed to put down and put your reservation in. That was one of the reasons that investors were so bullish on the Cybertruck coming out. But those 2 million reservations are gone. You can now go in and order a Cybertruck that will be delivered about a week from now. So after selling about 1/100th of the 2 million units that were potentially reserved, Tesla, I think, has a real demand problem on its hands. And I want to get into why this is important for the company's cost structure and revenue and margins going forward. The other time there was something this alarming for Tesla, and I can put a video that I did in the show notes in December 2022. That was when Tesla started discounting their vehicles. It seemed like a small thing at the time, but that was the peak for Tesla's margins and their profitability. The reason that they needed to discount their vehicles was they were increasing production, but demand for vehicles was going down. How do you fix that? Well, you lower the price to increase your demand at a lower price point. Tesla has been doing that for about 2 years now. And what it's done is it really destroyed the company's profitability and free cash flow. So the reason this is important for the Cybertruck is that was supposed to be the next growth product for Tesla. But if it's not going to be a growth product and it's actually going to be a cost, because there was a lot of cost that went into building the Cybertruck, that could put a dent in the company's bottom line. On top of that, you have to look at Tesla's business model. Tesla doesn't have divisions like most auto companies where you're going to just refresh your product every 5 to 7 years. Every traditional automaker does this. What Tesla does is more of an Apple model. So they have engineers that they're just going to put on a project. So the Model 3 engineers, they finish up scaling up the Model 3. What do they do next? They go work on the Cybertruck. So the Cybertruck finishes up. What are they working on now? Well, they're working on Optimus and they're working on FSD. So when are we going to see a refresh of vehicles at Tesla? There's just not enough people to do that. So if you have a product like this that isn't a hit, it is a huge detriment to the company's revenue and bottom line. And I think this should get more attention for investors, but I'm gonna go through the numbers. My name's Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you your top 10 stocks to buy right now. Let's look at what the Cybertruck demand was supposed to look like. This is from just over a year ago. At that point, Tesla was supposed to be delivering 200,000 Cybertrucks a year. Deliveries were just about to begin, and analysts were tripping over themselves trying to figure out how many Cybertrucks was Tesla actually going to sell. 260,000 units by 2025. So that's next year as I'm recording. This analyst said that they were going to sell 100 to 120,000 units in 2024. They're not going to get anywhere near that. And 240 to 260,000 units in 2025. What is Tesla actually delivering? Well, they don't give the specific numbers, but Model S, Model X, and Cybertruck combined for 22,915 vehicles delivered in the third quarter of 2024. Cox Automotive estimates that 16,000 of those deliveries were Cybertrucks. If we go back to the second quarter, that other vehicles number is 21,551. Now, estimates were that that was somewhere around 8,000 Cybertrucks, but still, you're talking about maybe 30,000 delivered so far in 2024. We're not anywhere near over 100 or even close to 200,000 units. But why is this a big deal today? If you go in and try to buy a Cybertruck today, I'm just using the base model. You go down here and the availability for this vehicle is October to November 2024. I'm recording this on October 21st. That means that potentially in the next 10 days, I could have a Cybertruck. There is not 2 million people waiting in line. There is now essentially no one left waiting in line. Anybody can get a Cybertruck at any time. Compare this to something like the Model 3. They're going to give you the exact same estimated delivery date, October to November 2024. So that indicates that there's plenty of inventory of not only Model 3s, Model Ys, but also the Cybertruck. And that's what's so alarming about these delivery times, is that it tells you that demand for the Cybertruck is nowhere near what investors thought it was a year ago. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So why is this a big deal for Tesla's financials? Well, it comes down to what revenue growth and margins are going to look like in the future. And I'm going to just pull up this chart because I mentioned earlier that I started highlighting in December 2022 that Tesla had been reducing the prices of their vehicles. What happened over the next 6 quarters? Their gross margin fell from 25.6% to 17.7%. Their operating margin fell by even more than that, 16.8% to just 7.5%. So Tesla's operating margin is now about the same as the industry standard. Revenue has also started to decline over the past few quarters. This revenue decline is happening as the Cybertruck is ramping production. Overall vehicle sales also declining right now. And remember those other vehicles, so the Model S, the Model X, and the Cybertruck, you combine those three, and there's just not a lot of growth there for Tesla. So this is why I think the Cybertruck backlog and delivery news is so alarming, is that this means that there's just not demand for the newest vehicle that Tesla has introduced. They're not going to have another vehicle for a number of years, maybe not until the robotaxi comes out. We have no idea when that's actually going to hit roads or how many people are actually going to buy them. So you have this deteriorating business, and it's not going to be refreshed anytime soon. The one new product that Tesla came out with is not successful. So now it's going to be relying on Model 3, Model Y to drive the business going forward. Those vehicles are getting old. They're 7, 8 years old right now. That's not how you drive growth in the auto business. A couple of other things to note. Tesla's CapEx, their capital expenditures per year, are climbing as sales are starting to fall. What's the reason for that? The company is investing heavily in artificial intelligence infrastructure. So they're buying things like NVIDIA GPUs. They're building out their Dojo computers. This costs billions and billions of dollars to do. You can see that their capital expenditures are almost $10 billion on an annualized basis over the past 12 months and on the rise. Now, Tesla has a good balance sheet, but when you compare their cash position to long-term debt, unearned revenue, so that's like prepayments for things like FSD, and accounts payable, which is actually a net $10 billion. When you subtract out the accounts receivable, those payables are much higher than the receivables. Their net cash position is not actually all that strong. And this is one of the things that we have to watch in the auto industry is balance sheets get really bad really, really quickly. Now, Tesla has a big market cap that can access capital very quickly, but this is absolutely something to keep an eye on as they're spending more and more building out AI infrastructure. So this is something that I think is worth keeping an eye on. I know that most investors are focused on artificial intelligence and FSD and all of that kind of stuff, but Tesla has to sell vehicles. The FSD theory doesn't work if they're not selling more and more vehicles. And if they're losing market share, which they are today, to other electric vehicle manufacturers, that's going to be trouble for Tesla long term. So really something to think about as Tesla's valuation is still 10 to 20 times higher than its auto market competitors, depending on who you're looking at. I think the fact that the Cybertruck is pretty clearly a flop is much worse news than investors are accounting for. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.